There's a sandwich in front of me that I'm gonna tear the fuck up. What's up, watchers? Will the Greatest here, and today we're tackling American Pie Presents Beta House. Now, Beta House has a special place in my heart because it's probably the one I not only remember watching first, but watching the most and probably liking the most. But I also haven't seen it since I was like 14, so maybe I should take a shot before I keep going. Anyways, you know the drill. New movie, new director. We have Andrew Waller, who did this, and Taking 5. He also had this one written by Eric Lindsay, which we mentioned the last one. Blah, 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 you know. They did Beta House, they did Naked Mile, and they didn't do much else. Alas, before I get to the whole recap portion for this one is actually interesting because this is the first of the spinoffs to directly follow another spinoff, in which, I mean, it focuses on the same lead, Stifler. So that's something. Okay, enough delay. Let's get the fuck on with it, I guess. Our movie opens with Coos, Eric, and Mr. Stifler, first name redacted, moving into the campus of their new university. We get a quick, lazy title card, and we get some rather quick exposition as to what happened to Tracy between films, finding out that despite the stiff dicking from Eric and whatever the fuck that credits montage was, she still fell back into the arms of Trent. Nice write-out movie. Built a whole plot around her not getting back together to Trent, only for her to get back together with Trent. After Mr. Stifler tries and fails to pick up some young poon for his son, nothing weird about that, we also get a little light shown onto the Stifler legacy.
This is the list of all the chicks I ever banged.
Hey, Dad, why isn't Mom's name the last name on the list there?
We didn't tell you, but when you were 3, we had a trial separation for a week.
Is that my mom's name?
Yeah, you know, on second thought, just kind of hang on to that.
You sex with his mom?
Yeah.
How was it?
Yeah.
As much as I rip on these films, they do give me some nice cheap laughs from the cast. So Eric goes to his room to meet his new roommate after literally pissing away a chance to talk to a cute girl, Ashley. Oh yeah, this movie introduced normalized co-ed bathrooms almost 10 years before the North Carolina HP2 controversy. That was a fun time for us. Anyways, we get introduced to Bobby, Eric's roommate, and his girlfriend Marty, engaging in some coochie and cooking. And none of this I can show you, but just take my word for it. Or support the official release of the unrated edition on sale now. As Eric is changing his pants, Marty chokes on some gum, and Bobby, handcuffed to his bed, is vulnerable to help her, so Eric has to go in and perform a Heimlich just in time for Coos and Mr. Stifler to make their entrance.
Yeah, that's what being a Stifler's all about.
No, she was choking.
You know, that would be an awful death to explain to her family, but I gotta give Marty props for attempting to ride dick as long as she did anyways. We get the reintroduction of Dwight Stifler as he uses a PSP to use what I can only call a Tinder prototype. And God, seeing a PlayStation Portable just reminds me of how fucking dated this movie is, as well as how many people used it to find porn. I know you did it too. Don't lie to me. Eric and the boys make their way to the Beta House as we get introduced to the antagonists of the movie. The brothers of the Geek House. Essentially, they're just a bunch of stereotypical nerds who embody the phrase, the geek shall inherit the earth. And more women are going there not only because they have the brains, but since they're all smart, they'll probably be rich by the time they leave college, and essentially, they follow the finances. Doesn't sound too different from the present when I think about it.
Who wants to hang out with a house full of geeks? It's a new world out there. These women realize that the geeks are going to be the millionaires right out of school. They've just adjusted their nesting habits.
After that very thorough introduction, we get to see what a party is like inside the Beta House, which honestly looks like a high-budget YouTube video. There's titties, miniskirts, gyrating, and underage drinking. Then we get this little gem of a line from the head of the Geek House.
We are declaring a new age at this university, an age in which a student's worth is no longer measured by his blood alcohol level, but rather his GPA.
She's going to be revealed to be a bad bitch and turn on the geeks by the end. We all know it. See it as clear as the lenses in her glasses. Sorry, I had to get that out. This is the actual line.
We must destroy the betas.
Now, given the current internet climate, that line kind of speaks for itself, but there is something ironic about the stereotypical nerd saying he wants to destroy a bunch of betas. It's just one of those unplanned things you can't account for a movie that's over a decade old. God, this movie's over a decade old.
Stacy, my hands are wet. I can't get
get this beer open. Will you do it for me? Thanks. Those Kegel muscle exercises are really paying off, huh?
Dwight, you didn't seem too excited to drink that, bro. So the party continues. We meet Wesley, aka the Blackout Menace, and Rush Chair for the betas. The boys party a little more until they run out of power, but not just power, the booze too. The geeks sweep in and collect people to join them at their house, and Eric, and they call back to the first American Pie, pukes on a girl. Nice reference, movie, even though it probably wasn't intentional. Also, quick thing. Is that Robbie Amell? Shit, brother, okay. I'm not mad at you. You gotta find work where you can. I respect the hustle. So the members of the Beta Frat are trying to decide on who to recruit further, and we get to see our boys, also Eric, with a clear hose attachment. After a little coaxing, aka Dwight pulls his legacy status as a Stifler, they decide to add him to the roster. Eric catches wind of this for probably some future character development and decides to ask Ashley on a date. Then, a rep from Beta House distracts Eric, Bobby, and Coos before we get to see our new initiates in the Beta House. So just fuck us getting a reveal on the black dude over there. Like, damn, bro, we can be misogynistic party animals too. Anyways, Dwight, the Pledge Master, introduces the 50 tasks that our boys must complete before the semester's end in order to be inducted into the fraternity. Which, I will say, as blatant an element it is, it does kind of set up a goal for our characters to do just besides having sex and partying. And they also kind of have a time frame to do it within, so, you know, stakes, I guess. We start with 37, which entails getting your ass signed by a stripper, thus leading to a stripper brawl, which has to be the most aggressive strippers I've ever seen since Hustlers. Eric, someone with some goddamn tact, manages to use manners to complete this deed. Next up is a montage of other deeds like fucking a teacher, streaking naked through ovals, stealing an ostrich, drinking a gallon of milk without pissing herself. Also, notice that black guy just kind of vanished, so fuck him, I guess, but not even literally. Anyways, Eric and, what was her name? Ashley is the girl for this movie. Ashley and him go on a date, and he gets some chowder spilled on his dick and balls. Poor guy. Coos is...
You just bring it out me, babe.
Having a bad acting moment. Then Eric, when having his burn tended to, busts all over Ashley's walls. Her room, not her, you know, including...
Oh my god! Mr. Biggles!
Which, bro, you on that retention? God damn. You look like a water balloon exploded.
Well, you see, there was this, incident that made masturbation very taboo in my household.
Well, you have more self-control than most people.
Okay. Again, I give the movie credit for having past events actually influence how the character acts and moves in the follow-up. Like that opening joke in the last movie actually having long-standing consequences. It's silly, but it shows the little bits of attention paid to this movie. It also kind of helps that they have the same writer. So this is the part where I bring in something to kind of offset that moment, which I will. But this one is a little bit different. Dwight is the one that gets run ragged by a sex addict. See, it's weird because it kind of plays against the type for the Stiflers, seeing other like players and all of that shit, but not really because it's, you know, being focused on Eric. But yeah, anyways, everyone thinks they're a freak until they meet a real freak. Just kidding. The actual thing is that Eric masturbates for the first time in like 4 months, and then Ashley shows up. So much meat beatery, in fact, that it kind of makes it hard for him to rise to the occasion later. But Ashley, being a good woman, is very understanding. We catch up with the boys, who get into some discourse over Denise, which is apparently the name of the southern girl that Coos has been hanging out with, as they discuss the possibility of her being trans, and that's as to why she's been so sex-averse. Because, you know, if a girl doesn't want to go all the way, and won't say why, that's clearly an indication that she has a penis. Damn, movie, we were doing so good. It's a brief scene. You kind of get into that mindset that a mid-2000s guy would have, which honestly, given the fact that American Wedding handled this topic so much better, it is a little disappointing to see one of the better of the spin-offs kind of lean into just a very poor joke by today's standards. and a lazy joke by the standards of 2007. It's just a part of the humor I don't think ages particularly well with the movie. Hell, the scene that follows leans even harder into the whole trans panic of it all. Like, Cruz literally has a nightmare of her asking him to go down and...
Suck my cock!
She's got a dick.
Which, to any straight dude out there, if you end up being surprised by like a trans chick or she's hiding or anything, don't get mad, don't flip shit, bro. Just leave. Just go home or call her an Uber or something. It really isn't that deep. Anyways, enough of my liberal rhetoric. Let's get to another montage of beta antics.
Check. Get a panda in the grotto. 30, get a blumpkin. After corned beef, it was disgusting.
Ugh. Y'all niggas are nasty. Ugh. Well, after completing enough of the board to reserve them a deluxe seat in hell, Dwight decides to celebrate with a trip to the strip club. Too bad, though, that the geeks have bought it out and are forcing the employees to gasp. Check IDs for their patrons? So unheard of in the AP cinematic universe. The APCU, if you will. The police, for some reason, arrest them, because I guess if you're under 21, seeing titties is illegal too. Oh, and we get this exchange.
And have way too nice of a body to be hanging out with a douchebag like that.
Don't listen to him, honey. Your body isn't that great.
Rich dudes treat their women just like this too. Yikes. So the gang meet with Dwight's lawyer, and if it isn't the saving saint of the franchise himself, Noah Levinstein, in the fucking flesh. So Noah convinces them to get revenge on the Geek Squad, and the boys decide to sneak in and steal a prized motherboard from them. They succeed and have only finally completed the board's requirements. We get to the initiation of the proper as who the fuck are all of these people? No movie, no. Where have all these pledges been the whole film? Did I miss something? Guess I fucking did, because they're right behind them. In dimmer lighting. But movie, if you weren't going to do anything with the other 4 guys that weren't Robbie Amell, why cast them? It's not unreasonable that they only have 4 new initiates. God, I didn't even see those guys originally. Anyways, the Geek Squad show up and throw down the gauntlet and challenge the beta males to the notoriously banned Greek Olympiad for charters. Since the first plot of the boys getting into Beta House is done, now we have to tackle the second plot of what to do with the geeks. They consult Noah, the last team captain to complete the Olympiad, to be the new officiator. Then we get an exposure to what appears to be Edgar, the leader of the geeks, weakness. We get a welcome cameo from Brock from the previous movie. You know, he was the... Yeah. And an explanation to where the frat has been all semester. You know, the frat of... Yeah. Apparently banned to the Shadow Realm by the geeks as well. Now, the weakness they mentioned is actually related to a story. And the story...
That sick bastard fucked the sheep.
Yeah. That sums it up. Also, Dwight's face the split second after that absolutely had me weak. So, the games begin with a race to who can unhook the most bras the fastest. Betas win. Next, they have to use a pool paddle to battle with.
His name is Dave Maul, and he is the #1 rated lightsaber fighter on the science fiction convention tour.
Oh, he's a virgin.
Yes to both. Shit, man. This would get some women wet in 2020, though. Anyways, I'll give them credit. The fight scene is quick, effective, and funny. And naturally, the geeks win. Next, they have a race to catch a greased-up pig. Bobby, the farm boy, is up against a French-Asian parkour master. This movie's fucking amazing. Anyways, the geeks win again, and next up is a Greek roulette, a nightmare, where Edgar and Dwight play Russian roulette, but instead of a bullet, you get a capsule of aged horse semen in the mouth. Where did they get that? Why do they have a capsule gun for shit like these? These questions and more on You Don't Want to Know. Things start to get tense as a second canister is added to the nut gun. By virtue of statistics, the geeks lose, and we're on to the next match. The wife carry. Eric and Ashley are up against a Russian weightlifter who does a nice job at literally flipping expectations of gender roles. And despite the betas losing, it is a cute moment for Eric and Ashley to share. Next challenge is a rather disgusting keg chug competition where puking doesn't count. I say disgusting because puking doesn't count. And there's a Family Guy tier puke scene that's just... a little much. Anyways, betas win with a little help from Wesley, and it just occurred to me that those other new recruits haven't done shit this entire thing. I'm sorry. So, things are tied up between the geeks and betas as they go into sudden death. The competition as the first to come goes, in a sense. So Dwight and Edgar face off in what is really just an excuse to see some lap dances on two white dudes. Nah. Look at his face. That face is pure terror. He's scared. So, Marty, of all people, comes in clutch, dressed as a sexy sheep. Goodbye, everybody. Nope. I got a review to finish. Sorry, I had to go and examine my life decisions. Where were we? Oh yeah, Edgar comes over sexy sheep girl. Seen worse on DeviantArt, and the betas win the Olympiad. They celebrate. That random plot point I forgot about, Denise having a penis, is proven just a very stupid non-concern, and it turns out her avoidance was because she's a squirter.
I slam you! Ghostbusters!
The movie ends with everyone making out in a pool. There's a mid and post-credit scene, but I don't care to discuss them. They're just short jokes. So now that that's over, how's it hold up? Honestly, aside from that whole thing about Denise maybe having a penis, movie still holds up pretty well for what it is. Let's not get shit twisted. This isn't super creative or reinventing the wheel or introducing new ideas to the American Pie cinematic universe. It's a simple, silly sex comedy about a boy and his friends trying to get accepted in college and trying to get laid. I don't even think we see them in a classroom at any point in this movie. It's pretty dated with its humor, plot, and identity, as even my college experience, which was just 6 years after this was released, was just radically different in so many regards. But nonetheless, I still found it mostly pretty funny, like a time capsule of bare tits and silly shit, which I've just come to expect from these movies at this point. I still like Eric as a character, and Coos is way more tolerable than he was in Naked Mile. The dynamic and differences between Dwight and Eric actually make them likable, and I know I didn't mention it much, but Bobby having a regular, curvier girlfriend and them being so comfortable with others was actually kind of nice to see in terms of representation. The geeks being the antagonist, I do think was supposed to be a play off stereotypes at the time, since we were still kind of in that climate where being a nerd was also kind of unpopular. And then Iron Man and The Dark Knight came out a year after this released, and geeks and nerds have blown up in the mainstream. So this movie kind of predicted these types of villains coming to reality in the future, like Flash and Spider-Man Homecoming, or the new Lex Luthor in the DCEU. Some fucking nerds who have money and brains, so power in women naturally follows. In terms of negatives, it's a little gross in some parts with all the puking and semen jokes. I said all I wanted to about that one subplot with Denise and the inclusion of those other initiates who had no bearing on the plot whatsoever. Even Robbie Amell's character, who didn't say much. Also, I never did get payoff for that nerd girl just kind of being verbally belittled, so that was really just a missed opportunity. Maybe they forgot? Whatever. Overall, if you can get past the dated jokes, I still think it's a pretty entertaining movie to watch with your friends if you ever get bored. Nothing spectacular. It has more of a plot than The Naked Mile does, and the characters are more likable than Bandcamp. Like, I may actually remember these characters going forward. I may even miss them a little bit. I'm impressed that as much as I remember about the movie, it still kind of holds up to younger and older me to just a base level of entertainment. So yeah, have you seen American Pie Presents Beta House? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. While you're there, please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel for more new content. And hit the bell so that you can know when it drops. Next time, we close one chapter of the spin-offs and open a new one as we dive into the Book of Love. I'm Will the Greatest, and I want you all to be great to one another. Have a good one.